Hello and welcome, everybody, to Explorers of Elsewhere's Tales from Elsewhere. Hi, we are live in your ear holes and your eyeballs. You don't want eye holes, you want eyeballs. That's much better. Hi, I'm DM Dan. Welcome. I am joined today by 6 creatures of unfathomable beauty. Which is more than we normally joined by. Hi, Nate.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Livy.
Hello.
Hi, Georgia.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Theo.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Dan.
Ahoy.
Ahoy. And you need to get in camera, dear. Hello, Daisy. There she is. She's bringing in the views. Oh, yeah. Daisy is the most excited of all of us, but we're all still quite excited to play some Daggerheart for y'all.
Yeah.
And normally we play Daggerheart with 4 players, but today, because we're just mad like that, we're gonna do it with 5 players. How's about? Oh, okay. No, we're down. We're down. We've lost Daisy. Okay, never mind. Yes, we're gonna play some Daggerheart. It's the start of a new tale. We're coming towards the end of the year. This is going to be the last Daggerheart session. Like, it was adventure of the year. But we're looking forward to 2025, where we're gonna have lots of new stuff on the way. Before I go on any further, because I know I'm waffling a little bit, I would just like to do a little shout out, because we're going to do some happy, laughy larks, but if you like your larks a bit more scary and gruesome, then you should 100% check out Georgia and Theo's project, the Homeward Foundation, which managed to smash through its Kickstarter. It's fully funded. The Homeward Foundation is a go. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
What is it, for anyone who doesn't know?
Danny.
Okay, let's do this. So the Homeward Foundation is a found footage horror fiction podcast that's designed as a sequel to Dracula. We released the pilot earlier this year with a Kickstarter crowdfund, which we succeeded, which means we're going to be making 6 more episodes. It stars Rebecca Root as Madeline Townsend and Sean Carlson as Jeremy Larkin, and they both also play the ghosts of Mina and Jonathan Harker. It's a fun romp across the Yorkshire moors, being chased by monsters with kind of strange kind of intrigue. You're dealing with like codependency with ghosts and kind of like it's great. 7 heads. You've got the 7-headed Dracula to deal with. So there's lots going on. So if that sounds something of interest, do check out the podcast. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. And obviously that's where we'll also be updating production notes wise. And you can also find us on our socials and our website, which is www.homewardfoundation.com. Anything else you'd like to add, Georgia, in case I missed anything?
That was perfect.
Fantastic.
I hope I've spelt that right in the chat. Yes, certainly after we finished, because Homewood's not going anywhere. You complete your Kickstarter, so yeah, we can go check that out. So, 5 players, 1 new story. Who would like to get started?
Me, please.
Okay, let's go. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya, the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo, and I'm playing Cal, the Sangvar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Elfric Stormhorn, a Dragon Scent Bard.
Hi, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Azakar, a Majani Seraph.
And my name is DM Dan, the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn.
of these magical tales from elsewhere.
And so, with a flash of light, a now more familiar lurching of stomachs, 5 individuals emerge from a pre-constructed portal to the sounds of water gently lapping underfoot, the sound of town bustle kind of gently rolling through the air either side of you. And 5 explorers find themselves on a rather large, kind of wide, old certainly, stone bridge in the middle of what appears to be a quaint little town that's somewhat bigger than some of the other explorer expedition settlements that have been created in the past 20 odd months. And this bridge spans over a kind of wide but gently rolling river. Explorers, you have arrived in the town of Islebridge. As you look around, the first thing that perhaps strikes your notice, Rayri, to you, all of the buildings seem normal, more normal than other buildings that you've seen. But for everyone else, you notice that more of the buildings seem to be a bit on the smaller side than you were expecting. And as you kind of take it, like kind of orientate yourselves and take in what you see, you hear the sounds of chattering as a group of sprites kind of wander past, and they're kind of nattering to one another. Oh yeah, we went fishing and I caught a fish this big. And they're having kind of a conversation. Oh, excuse me, as they kind of pick their way past you. And Ravy, perhaps it's something, there's a joy that swells in your chest, because it's not very often that you find yourself in a settlement with a lot more sprites than usual. But actually, let's start between the 5 of you. What 2 landmarks pique your interest the most? Standing on this bridge, you can see that the town is, in effect, kind of split over both sides of this river. The river which you've been told is the River Island, that kind of rolls through here. So the town is built on both sides. Apart from the building behind you, we'll come back to that in a sec. What other landmarks pique your interest as you kind of look left and then look right? What's on the left? The eastern half of the city.
Azakar can see there's like almost like a town square, but it's almost not like a town square. It's like a town rectangle, almost like a square that's been cut in half. And sort of in the middle of that is sort of like a beautifully carved statue of like a quite heroic, let's say, heron sprite, standing sort of like upon like a big rock and lifting up a sword.
Okay. So it is effectively like a town square. Does it kind of bump up onto the river?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so yeah, you notice this rather heroic-looking Terran sprite statue to your left on the eastern coast. Someone else, what grabs your notice when you look right onto the west shore?
Rayri notices a shop that has a very, very large sign in the shape of a boot, and it specializes in tiny boots and tiny people.
Okay.
And Rayri's very excited. They don't normally get to see tiny boots or tiny people.
So sprite-sized boots. Okay, very good. Well, as Azakar and Rayri, as the two of you kind of pick up on these kind of landmarks, you turn to see that behind you, pretty much halfway along this bridge, and when I say the bridge is wide, we're talking a good, probably 20 odd meters in width. Like it's a very spacious. It would be a very spacious bridge if it weren't for what appears to be a tavern of sorts that is constructed on the middle. Some of it juts out. You can see there are some support structures going down into the river, but the vast majority of the tavern kind of footprint lies on this bridge, almost equidistant between the two halves of Islebridge. And you notice that, well, for everyone else, you notice that this building, this tavern, has what you would consider normal proportions. Perhaps a bit too big for a sprite, perhaps a bit too small for a keeper. But it looks old. It looks like it's been here for quite some time, but you notice that the swinging sign over the door looks relatively new. And it is called the Horse's Head. And from your missives that you picked up from Avamore that have led you to this place, you know that your contact that you're to speak to is the proprietor of the Horse's Head. As you kind of enter in, the building, like the interior, kind of radiates this kind of welcoming warmth. Despite being, Lorivar, Asavar, Wolfkin sized, it's got a you've noticed there's quite a few sort of like corridors, almost as if they remind you almost as like rat runs that seem to be more appropriately sized for sprites. You can see that on one side of the bar there is a kind of a wooden, you could almost call it like wooden shelving, but it's like a half level upon which there is another set of kind of sprite sized tables. So they're being very efficient with the space in here. But there's a coziness. You hear the crackling of a fire in the fireplace, and the smell of good quality drink and food. Behind the bar, you notice as you sit down, is a somewhat portly Lorivar, with kind of big greying mutton chop type facial hair arrangements, hair combed back, and like eyes that look a bit too small for his head. But as he sees the five of you enter and take a seat, he kind of blusters over to you and, well, if I am not mistaken, you have the look of some adventurers about you.
Do we?
Yes, you especially, he says, pointing at you, Alfrek.
Alfrek radiates excitement.
He, the barkeep sort of like smiles and then like bows ever so slightly at the waist, and he says, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Varon Verizon, proprietor of this here establishment, and I welcome you to enjoy our hospitalities. And you know that Varon here is the one that put in the job order for you. I'll pass back to you for a moment. How's Rayri, Azakar, and Vanya feeling being joined once again by the enigmatic Cal and the starry-eyed Alfric? It's been a few months.
It feels good.
Feels correct.
It feels correct.
Azakar's wondering who is this child.
Oh yeah, hasn't met Alfric yet. I think Rayri's just kind of looking between Azakar and Alfric, just like.
We've got Rayri already. Why do we need another child?
It's a slightly larger child.
Alfric, what series of events have led you to be here on official Explorer's Business? Since we last saw you at Ulick Manor in your hometown, what twists of fate have led you down this path?
Many a twist of fate. Oh, he's so excited. I think as soon as he got home from witnessing many a murder, he immediately informed his parents that he was going to become an adventurer, and was immediately told, absolutely not. So in secret, he wrote to the guild and requested some kind of help, so some way to convince his parents of the mighty need of him to become an adventurer. And that's when Cal showed up at the door.
Yeah. Cal turned up. I feel like Cal kind of, I want to say appeased, I think the wrong word, but turning up and telling Cal's parents, Alfric's parents, that he will be trained properly and that he would make it his major concern that Alfric understands how to defend himself, and that he will never do anything too dangerous that he cannot handle without him around. He regrets all this, but Alfric was probably like big puppy dog eyes right in front of him, and Cal was just like, I can't be bothered to disagree. So I think whilst you guys were having a spooky time, Cal was doing some training with Alfric so that he understands what it is to fight something and how to defend himself and to listen to people when they tell you what to do.
He absolutely has
Because
not
he
learned
is a
any of
child.
these lessons.
He better have learned these lessons, because Cal will be very angry. Yes.
And now they are
And then
joined by a friendship bracelet
No, they are not.
made of Alfric's love and adoration for his new papa.
Well, so Cal, where it sounds like you've, fundamentally kind of taken Alfric under your wing, in the relatively short amount of time that you've kind of been together away from like Alfric's hometown, so perhaps through the streets of Avamore, perhaps on like a small little kind of starter job that the two of you picked up, what has been the most egregiously notable interaction that you've witnessed someone have with Alfric due to the fact that Alfric is a dragon sent?
Oh, I think absolutely someone has literally got down on their knees in front of Alfric and treated him like a deity.
Yeah.
And Cal is just kind of like trying to just try and relax and just be like, please move on, sir. He is a working dragon. He is not a deity. He is
Working dragon.
a working.
Please do not
Yes,
distract him.
Please do not distract the child in training. He is an explorer. He is an explorer business. But probably by just giving the man who got on his knees a very cow gaze. And yes, so Cal has all like I feel like those interactions might happen quite not I wouldn't say frequently, but occasionally enough that people are like, ooh, a dragon scent, and Cal's like, no.
Okay.
Stop. Control yourself. To these people.
Okay, so Alfric, in your time with Cal, you've been subjected to quite a few. Well, at the very least, at least one person has dropped to their knees in supplication. But what is the one thing you've kind of discovered that you've noticed being an explorer that you kind of weren't counting on? What was the most kind of eyebrow raising incident?
He's definitely one of the most sheltered people, man or dragon, that you will ever meet. I think just stepping out of his home, where he was so certain that the outside world would be exactly like his books, and everything would be fine and fun, and being hungry and cold and a bit tired were never really like things you'd have to deal with, because he's never had to deal with that before. And now he's been on the road and he's had to deal with circumstances that aren't the same as his own. He's had to deal with people who haven't dealt well during the catastrophe. And I think it sort of opened his eyes just a little bit to the fact that people aren't storybook characters, and people aren't doing very well, and there is a thing called poverty. And I think it's slowly starting to dawn on him that perhaps the world is a little bit different to how he pictured it.
For sure. Okay, very good, thank you. In which case we return to the present. Varon Verizon has kind of welcomed you. And he this kind of portly Lorivar man looks to you all with his slightly too small eyes, and he looks at you expectantly. As I say, he is the one who put out the job. The job in particular being what is framed as a rescue mission. The Lorivar looks at you, and I assume that you understood the particulars of the missive that I posted up to Avamore, but just in case, it's a terrible state of affairs. It truly is. You see, I don't know if any of you have visited the beautiful town of Islebridge before, but there are two families, I suppose you could say, that they don't run things around here, but they are the pillars of the community. I hope you understand. You see, you've got the Firehams and you've got the Fizbies. Now, the Firehams and the Fizbies, their clans are quite widespread, wide-stretching, and the matriarch and the patriarch of the Firehams and the Fizbies, they're getting on a bit, and they were going to be handing down their responsibilities and ownership of the clan, such as they were, to their daughters. But in a twist of ill fate, the daughters have gone missing. Now, the two young girls, they're ever so sweet. They're ever so sweet. Capuline and Montana. The two families believe that the other is responsible for the disappearance of their daughter, but they're pointing fingers at one another. And there's one thing I've discovered about sprites. Beg my pardon, miss, he says to you, Ray. But they can be imaginative little buggers. So there's all of this hearsay and there's all of this speculation about what's happened to these daughters, and the two families pointing the fingers at one another and shouting some very mean things. But I have a horrible, horrible feeling that there is something a bit more troublesome that flows underneath this. I believe that the girls haven't gone missing. I believe the girls have been kidnapped.
First, we still not got a drink yet, so we need a round of drinks.
I beg my pardon. Myrtle! Myrtle! The Laravar man kind of shouts over his shoulder, and you see there's some kind of crashing and banging kind of behind the bar area, and soon this like lady goblin kind of skirts out and sorry, she says as she kind of scooters on past with some drinks. I apologize, I didn't even ask for your order, but I assure you that this mead we freshly uncorked it this morning. It's going to be some of the best stuff that you've ever tasted, he says.
You mentioned a kidnapping?
Oh, why, yes. Myrtle, just distribute the drinks, if you please. Yes, the kidnap. I believe they've been kidnapped. There's something just doesn't quite add up. It just smells a bit fishy, and it's not the river. No. I think there is something. There's something more clandestine going on here. But capable individuals like yourselves, we don't have much to give you in the way of clues, but I'm sure that between the five of you, you will be able to sniff out whoever it was that is wishing such ill fortune on these two beautiful families. You can find their daughters and you can bring them right back.
Which one's the Capuline and which one's the Montana?
Capuline Fisby.
Fisby.
And Montana Fyram.
She looks around. Sprite, please? A chance?
Wow, yes. Capuline's one of them, one of you, Aquan sprites. And Montana, she's one of them airy sprites. No, Auran sprites. Yes. Not a fiery little go-getter like you, but yeah, they keep themselves out of trouble for the most part, apart from now. Huh.
Got their head in the clouds most of the time.
I think I get that, yes. Yes, how does that... Well, you're here, so I assume that you feel that the five of you are up to the job of finding these two wayward souls.
Yeah, kidnapping, that sounds easy. We just did like a triple homicide.
Oh my.
So, if only two of them are dead, then that's even better than last time. So I think we had more than that. We had more than that last time?
Well, I mean, I don't mean to speak for the Fisbys and the Fyrams, but I would suspect that neither of them would want either of the daughters to have shuffled off this mortal coil, and I suspect that they will both want them returned safe and sound.
Hold up a minute. Vanya takes a swig of his pint. He's like, right. You say this is kidnapping, but does anyone know what the relationship is like between the two daughters?
Well, I mean, yeah, they're quite they're quite close. They seem to spend quite a lot of time together. I think they're just really good friends.
Like housemates.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant.
They get on well enough that I could imagine that between the two of them, they might, they'd be happy spending the rest of their lives together.
That's really nice.
They just fit together like perfect pieces.
Yeah.
So, what evidence do we have that this is potentially malicious kidnapping or whatever?
Well, it's the timing. You see, it's the timing. There was a big announcement not too long ago that Tiber Fisby and Benville Fyram, that's the matriarch of the Fisbys and the patriarch of the Fyrams. They've only recently, said, "Oh, we're about to step down and we're gonna rest on our laurels," and that they, pretty much on the same day. And then they put forward Capuline and Montana to be taking over kind of command of the two families. As I say, they're pillars of the community. They do quite a lot for the town of Islebridge. But yeah, only days after this announcement, and these two girls found themselves being some of the most important people in the town, then they just go missing. Yeah, there's a part of me that thinks that it's just a bit too convenient, and then for both of the families to be kind of waggling the finger at each other. No, I think there's something going on here.
Between the two families, who would benefit? Who would benefit from kidnapping them?
The Larvar shrugs and, well, I mean, that bit I just don't understand. I mean, the thing is, the reason why they're so important is that, from what I understand, I mean, the sprites have been here since, well, no one knows how long they've been here, and whenever you ask any of them, they just say, "Oh, I've been here my whole life." The Fisbys, you see, they tend to look after, the Fyrams. They kind of stick to the outskirts of the town. They look after. They're like the cultivators. They grow the wheat. They farm the lumber. They mine the stone. They do the farming. And then the Fisbys, historically, they've always been the creators and the artisans of the town. They turn the raw product into delicious foods. They make the clothes. They build the buildings and everything. It's been quite a synonymous relationship between the two of them. But yeah, now they're just gonna. Now that they're at each other's throats, the whole thing's just gonna fall apart, and I'm worried. I'm worried that the town of Islebridge is just going to fall apart as a result of it.
So where can we find the heads of, or ex-heads, would be heads of the two families?
Well, as I say, you can find the Fyrams on the outskirts. The house, their house tends to is, but you'll likely find them at their lodgings in the southwest, and the Fisbys, you can find them on within town on the east side of the city.
And is there someone who is outside of these families that know these two daughters well, that we might speak to as well, that's not so biased with one of these families?
Well, I mean, they got friends and whatnot, but I mean, a lot of the sprites here, their histories are so intertwined. It's like one town-sized family, primarily. But I mean, you could speak to the Mayor Scala. She's been here a while, but she's a sprite as well. But she's made a pledge to try and kind of keep separate from the Fisbys and the fire, and she doesn't want to seem like she's being biased one way or the other. There's Sheriff Parron. He's an explorer that came along and kind of stayed put. But yeah, they've got a few more friends. You can speak to Mercule or Volio. If you ask for either of them, they might be able to help you out. Finally, I suppose there's. He's a bit of a spiritual leader, but the cleric, you've got a cleric of Selenith in town, Lorace. You could speak to him, I suppose.
Good to know.
Thank you for your information. That's very helpful.
You are more than welcome. I'm just hoping hoping with all the hope in my heart that you can find these 2 girls and bring them home. It would break my heart to see these families kind of lose everything that they build up. Let me just, in the chat, write down the names of those NPCs that I've just mentioned. So we've got Escala, we've got Baron, we've got Mercule, and Volio, spelled like that. And then there's Cleric Lorace. Boom, there we go. In the chat there for you.
Who are Mercule and Volio again?
So Mercule and Volio, they are friends of Montana. Mercule is the son of Mayor Escala. Cool. So,
well,
so I don't have to keep on doing that voice anymore. Who, as you tuck into your drinks, Vanya, the drink, it's quite a thick. It's a mead. It's definitely a mead. It's thick. It's treacly. It's got a slight hint of bitterness, which isn't unpleasant in any way. But yeah, it is. He's not wrong. It is pretty good. It doesn't taste like it's. It certainly hasn't been brewed for a long time. Like it hasn't had time to sit and develop for a long time, but it's tasty nonetheless. You suspect that if it were given another few months, years, or however long good mead takes to brew, it would be better still.
Probably not good enough for a pie or something.
So between the 5 of you, what have you got? Any initial kind of thoughts or feelings? Anything that is springing to mind?
They're screwing.
No, they're roommates.
Personally, I think that maybe the pressure got too much, And they're like, nope. Just
Yeah.
left.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Just no.
It's possible.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
we
what
don't
could
know.
be? They could go off to get. We still got to find them though, because it's not very nice. Even if they're shirking their responsibilities to just run away from their families and cause all this rift.
And surely
Like-
they would have told someone, anyone, their friends.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Hopefully, I think we should start with their friends. To be honest.
Dan, did
Maybe
Baron tell them
friends.
how long they've been missing?
So it's been a couple of days.
Okay, they could not have gone far.
It could be down a well.
They could be down a well, yes.
Wells, mortal enemies
look
of
their
sprites.
Yeah. That's it. I'm all the time. I got stuck in an hole. I've got. Doesn't take much, does it?
No, it doesn't. Not
Or
for
in a-
you.
In a manhole. Had that before, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
There's a time I climbed a tree and then I could get down
The time
again.
you climbed the tree, yes.
Yeah, I could get down again.
It must be tough to
Prince-
live in a world where you're the only ones that truly acknowledge the dangers of puddles.
Once I just walked into a pot. I thought it was like this deep, but it was all the way up to my neck. Nearly died. Cow had to pull me out. It's fine though.
We shall keep an eye on you if that happens again. I
Wow,
promise.
this place looks brilliant. Looks like it's all set up for little guys. You guys better watch out. You got to get your noggins locked in. Hitting all the posts.
Looking forward to that.
Just a quick question, Ravi. If we find like an item for
Yeah.
Vinny to
Sniff. Yeah. I thought you were good at sniffing.
I mean, I'm
I mean, you think you could have a race? If you want.
yeah. I'm up for that.
He's pretty good though. He is good. Especially if it's Sprite smell, we'll probably be able to find a Sprite.
Well, I think it's a good idea.
Well, should we? I reckon we talk to Folio.
Okay.
And
So
I want to say their real names.
Mercure.
Mercule.
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 Mercule
like-
and Volio.
Yeah.
Volio.
So Mercule is the son of Mayor Escala.
Mayor.
So
Yep.
you would presume
The police.
also a sprite. Volio, you're not sure of, but yeah, they both seem to be friends of Montana.
Oh, should we start with that? Should we start at the outskirts? Or do you want to start at the inside of the town? Let's start with the Fizbees.
I think it's better not to go to the families directly. Let's get some dirty
Unbiased
information.
opinion.
That.
I mean, what if it is
No.
love?
Wow! Well, it could be love. It could just be sex.
I suppose that's just as heartwarming.
Oh, good. So where's your
I
first?
deny the animal instinct.
Where's your first port of call?
Let's go. Well, let's go find Folio, or the police chief's son. Let's find that. If we find the police chief, we have to find his son.
Baron, where can we find the friends?
So
Are you saying it so you can do the accent again, Dan?
whoa, thank you very much. You can so Volio. Well, Volio works in this quaint little cobblers just on the on the west side of town. You got me. It's right near the bridge. Actually, you can see it from the bridge. So it's the one with the big sign that's shaped like a boot.
Yep. That's brilliant.
But yeah, you can find Volio there. Mercule, you'll probably find getting under the feet of the mayor. So that's on the other side of town. Look for the big townhouse.
Question regarding the mayor. Does the mayor get on with their son, or like you say under the feet? Is it a
It's the sheriff.
difficult relationship?
No, yeah. So Mayor Escala, her son is Mercule. Well, yeah. I mean, as far as I understand, the two of them get on fine. It's just yeah, Mercule's a bit needy. But you didn't hear that from me.
We'll keep that under our hats then.
Very good, very good. Tell you what, don't worry about this. Is on the house, I say. I would rather keep you fed and watered to make sure that these two families get everything that they need.
Why do you have such a vested interest?
Me, well, I'm relatively new around here, but I've very quickly become enamored with the community spirit that the two families have permeated through the town. It warms my cockles. It really does. It really does. And I just don't want to see a good thing go to waste. So,
Have you got any pastries to go?
Myrtle! He shouts, and yeah, Myrtle goes to fetch you some pastries. So, heading to Volio.
Yes.
Volio at the shoe shop. Okay.
On the way.
Yes.
Quick note. I sidle up, I think, considering the circumstances for Ragona, I'll sidle up next to Rayri and say, how are you feeling in this town, eh? You feeling like more at home or something, or?
Really? Because I didn't grow up in a town of sprites. Look, it's nice to see so many all together. I didn't even know that there was this many all together. all together. Like, what are they all doing here? You know, we just get a couple.
Rayri, it is notable that as you kind of look around, it's almost fundamentally as if, you know, almost like the roles of reversed. I mean, there are a lot of Lorivar in the town, but I mean, from what you're seeing, like the snapshot of the population that you're seeing, you would wager that there are just as many sprites as there are Lorivar. And that's taking into consideration that you can fit more sprites into like a square foot. Yeah. There are other, you know, that you, as you're kind of wandering around, you see like an Asavar, you see a Majani. But yeah, fundamentally, this town seems to be dominated by sprites and Lorivar.
Yeah, Vanya is just like, well, if you ever feel uncomfortable or anything, you let me know. I don't know.
Just don't lose me. Because, you know, you could just pick up the wrong one, couldn't you? Take the wrong one home.
Your buns.
That's right.
Unmistakable. Not the buns. Buns.
No, I think, you know, just look for the one that's got Biddy. Because there's not any more of those around. It's just this.
I can smell you from a mile away, don't worry. Oh, have you tried this pastry? Yes. It's great. And as he passes your pastry, you probably notice that there's like a sprinkling of something extra on top that wasn't probably there previously. Almost like an icing sugar. As he passes your pastry.
Mary's good. Do I eat it.
And you get free hope.
Thanks.
You get high as balls. That's
It's crack.
It's chloroform. Jesus.
Soldier's Bond, you and me both get free hope.
Just okay, so whilst you're looking at that, so Vanier is up to 5 hope.
Yep.
And Ravy is up to 5 hope. Very good. Everyone, I'm gonna say, everyone, please roll me. Just roll some dice. Everyone, just do a normal roll.
Normal
roll. Just gonna
Nothing
see.
to add it.
I just want to see what you roll. You know.
Someone got a crit.
So Alfred got a crit. Okay, so we got a crit for Alfred. We got a 12 with hope for Rayri. We got a 19 with fear for Azakar. We got a 5 for fear for Vanier. And we got an 11 with fear for Cal. In which case, as you're walking along, Vanier, Rayri, you're having this conversation. To give, so Chris in the chat has asked, so sprites are about, 2/5 to a third of the size of the majority of the other races. They tend to be sort of like 3 to 3.5 foot tall, so they are quite petite compared to the roughly 5.5 to 6 foot ish for the other heritages. Keepers then stomping around 7 to 8 feet tall. So the size difference is quite noticeable, and whilst noticeable, and I say this is a sprite settlement, it would seem. So Rayri, you don't really notice it because it's just kind of normal to you, but as Azakar, Alfric and Cal, you see this before it's about to happen. But as Vanya and Rayri are talking, there is a loud bonk as Vanya, you walk head first into a street sign that for you is at head height, but for Rayri is and there's a proper bonk as you come off the end of the bridge, and just clock straight into it.
I should probably look where I'm going.
It's
too nice.
Between the four like standard sized folk, you realise that all of the lamp, the the hanging lantern posts, the street signs, like, they are all potential health hazards for you because they're that much lower to the ground. But yes, so the five of you make it to this cobbler's. Rayri is absolutely right. There is a large sign above the door that is boot shaped, and in gold flake writing, the sign says that the shop is called Tippy Taps.
That's gorgeous.
I think Livy's about to explode.
Beautiful.
Tippy Taps. You also notice that so Tippy Taps is a peculiar building because you know, sometimes when you see those kind of like rustic cottage-like buildings and they have these like they'll have an arch kind of roof, but then randomly on sort of like one side there'll be like it's almost like a shrunk down version of it, so it's the roof is a bit kind of lower down, so it looks a bit like that. But all of you recognise that there is a door for sprites, so a just over half-size door on this kind of reduced size bit, and then there's a standard size door, like standard 6-ish foot door on the section next to it. So fundamentally an entrance for sprites and for the other folk of elsewhere. But as you make your way in, the smell of like leather washes over you, which isn't a particularly pleasant smell. But there's just a flurry of activity inside as this relatively large group of, I say, like medium-sized group of sprites are just busy, very, very busy ferreting away at like boots, like walking boots, farmers' boots. You know, they're hiking, but like they're boots of literally all shapes and sizes. You see a display rack of boots designed to fit the hooves of keepers. You see small shoes, and you know, shoes for smaller. It literally says smaller folk on the sign above them, and not so small folk for the standard size ones. Others, yes.
Yeah. Large bastards.
But yeah, you notice that all of the, like, while the sprites are sort of like happily chattering to one another and you know, seeming quite like flitty in their attentions, as they also seem to be like muscle memorying through their jobs. How are you feeling right now, Cal?
Very, very big. Cal, I don't think Cal necessarily thinks about his height. And with Rayri, it's like she's kind of unique to the group because she's the smallest one. But to be the odd ones out is kind of interesting. And I think Cal is rather tall. So his expression is just very much like eyebrow raise, looking around a bit intrigued. At the whole thing. He's quite bemused.
I guess to paint the scene a bit more, it's just like Santa's workshop in here. Like, it's
just shoes.
Just as you're looking around, like Ravy's just constantly coming up to you like, "Blue ones, green ones."
As Rayri excitedly says that, Alfric, you hear a voice you hear a throat clearing, and "Can I help you?" And you turn to see a little Terran sprite. He's got he's got a relative. to look at his hairstyle would insinuate that his hair that's almost kind of been like waxed back into shape, but it looks a bit more kind of firm and sturdy. And like there's clearly an attempt to grow some form of facial hair, but to look at it, it almost looks like tiny little stalactites just kind of like jutting out his chin, like a, you know, like if you mix something between like a porcupine and stubble, just like little spikes just kind of poking out the chin, and just behind the chin on the bottom of the top of the neck. But yes, can I help you? Says this sprite.
Do you need size into size 1?
The sprite turns and is shocked by the interruption, and yes, if you take a seat over in the fitting area, we'll have a look. And then he turns back to you, Alfred. Apologies. How can I help?
Yes, we're here about the kidnapping.
The sprite, just mouth drops, and the what now?
Alfred looks so earnest.
I feel like Cal just like puts an arm on Alfred's shoulder. It's like, my apologies. We're referring to the girls who have gone missing, Montana and Capuline.
The sprite looks at you. It's somewhere between aghast shock and confusion looking at you, Alfred, and then as you clarify, Cal, he looks up to you and... Kidnapped? But I thought Monty had just done a runner. My apologies.
What makes you think that?
Well, and he stutters and stumbles for a moment. And Monty and I, Montana and I, we're really good friends. You see, my name's Volio. We're best friends, really. I thought that she'd just done a run, kidnapped.
Did you talk to her before she went missing?
Well, no. That's why it was. We just assumed that, her and Capuline had just, just decided to get away from it all. But why do you think they've been what makes you think they've been kidnapped?
There's some concerned parties who believe they have been kidnapped. We know of the now fighting between two families, and one blaming other. But they concerned parties are believing that both girls were kidnapped.
Well,
I
yes.
mean, I still think they're having a little bit of a you-know-what, but...
I really hope
What do I know?
Well, I mean, that's what we all thought, really. But, excuse, if I could just hold you for a moment, I need to make sure that this young lady's got her shoes.
Oh,
She is with us. Well. But please,
yes,
do
she can
help her
wait.
with her shoes.
Great!
So Volio sort of like gestures to all of you to follow him, and there are a number of sort of like stalls of various size kind of scattered around, and he gestures for you to take seats on them. So what colour were you after, my dear?
Purple.
Purple. Okay. And he produces a tape measure from his sort of like apron, and he starts like measuring your feet dimensions. And then
It's an extra service.
well, as he
Never had my feet measured before.
yeah. And while he's doing it, he's sort of like looking over his shoulder at all five of you. And so sorry, these yes, we thought that the two of them had ran away because, well, you know, and
They're roommates.
No, I don't know. Why?
well, they're really good friends.
So we keep on hearing, so why would they run away?
No, I mean, they're really good friends, he says, like squinting at you with a nod.
Yes, we know, but why would
Best
they run
friends.
away?
Yeah.
I'm not getting this staring at me.
They're deeply in love.
Oh, as friends?
No, as lovers.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, Volio blushes as well. And it's one of the worst kept secrets in Islebridge, but yes, they've you know, when people surmise that the two of them were inseparable, I just don't think anyone ever truly considered just how inseparable they were going to be. But now there's all this talk about handing down power to the two of them, and perhaps they've just assumed that taking over for the Firearms and the Fizbies is just going to put a dampener on things. Perhaps they just don't want to, they say that you should never work with your spouses. You're mixing kind of love and business, but yeah, perhaps they just thought that it would all just be a bit too much, and they just run away. But if you're saying they're and Ravi, you notice that he's now on like the fourth repetition of measuring the diameter of your feet, but they
haven't changed in the last 2 seconds. Yes,
9 inches. Okay, but if you're saying that they've been kidnapped, oh no, not yeah, 9 inches. Yeah, sounds about right. If you're saying they've been kidnapped, well, then you've got to get them back. I mean, you look like explorers to me.
Who would benefit from them not being able to take over?
He sort of like, he doesn't really, well, I don't really know at all, but I mean, Islebridge is quite boring. It's a bit dormant. Nothing ever really happens here. The most exciting thing recently is when Varen turned up and sorted out the tavern on the centre of the bridge. That was the most exciting thing that's happened within the past, well, I mean, apart from the war, that's been the most exciting thing that's happened since. But
if they are in love, where might they have gone?
Do they have any hiding spots or places they let get away from everything?
Well, I mean, they had hiding spots all over the city. It's where they'd go to meet one another, and kind of when they didn't want to be doing whatever it was that their mother or father was telling them to. The thing is, everyone knows who Capuline and Montana are in the town, so it's very difficult for them to keep a low profile.
Was there anyone particular who didn't want them to be together?
I mean, I don't even think so, though. No, I mean, they're, as I say, I think their relationship is one of the worst kept secrets in Islebridge, and Tiber and Benville, their mother and father, they're more than happy. They haven't made any noises that they disapprove. I mean, it would be quite archaic of them if they did, but no, I mean, everyone. So we just assumed that they were unhappy about something, which is why they left without telling anyone. But no, I can't think of anyone who would want to see them. Why would you kidnap them? That's awful.
Look. Let's change the approach here, eh? Do you know of any unsavory types that live in this town, that like a third party that people are a bit wary of, that they don't want to have any connections with, or might stir a little trouble now and then?
I do remember, so recently at the nearby, we were having drinks at the Horse's Head, and Sheriff Parron was bemoaning that some ruffians who had turned up. They're a little way away from town, but he was keeping an eye on them just to make sure that they didn't try to roll in here and try to start trouble. And by the by, it seems like they mostly kept themselves to themselves. But yeah, a gang of Lorivar just kind of marauding across the countryside, being nuisances. I mean, the Firehams were a bit worried that given that they're on the outskirts of the town, but they've not actually been in any trouble. But perhaps that's a lead.
I do think we probably should speak to the sheriff about that.
Where can we find him at this time of day?
You should be able to. Well, you'll find him over at the sheriff's office. That's just on the. It's just down the road, and you take the third left, and he gives you directions.
And one other question: do you have an item of theirs, a possession, something that might have their scent?
Volio.
With a dog, of course.
Oh, right, yes, of course. Oh my, is this a? What a cute beast, he says as he scritches Vinny on the underside of the chin. Well, as a matter of fact, I do. Yes, bear with me. And having just finished the sort of like 6th round of measuring your right foot, Ravy, Volio kind of scampers off to like out of sight, and then returns with a flat cap, like a flat cap hat. Yes, this was Montana's. She used to wear it all the time because she always struggles keeping her hair in one place.
Take the hat. Well, I'll return it to either you or them if we can find where they are.
Very good, very good. That's yes, but please make sure that they come back safely.
Yeah, don't worry, we're on the case. As explorers of elsewhere, have our heads screwed on. You'll be fine.
Very good. Yeah, the Volio nods. Are you staying around for the appearance of perfectly fitted shoes for Rayri?
How long are they going to take? 12 hours.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In the time it takes, like Volio to kind of give you, the directions to the sheriff's office and the like. Yeah, another sprite appears an ignorant sprite, much like yourself, Rayri, and she looks to you, and you notice that her hair which is quite short, stands almost like on end and like flickers at the tips, like candlelight. And I've got a lovely pair of purple shoes here for you. And fitting them on, they fit perfectly. They fit perfectly. They've got little gold buckles on the outsides, on the outer sides, an ever so slight heel, not egregious, but just enough to give you a little bit of height, but still enough, not high enough that you wouldn't be able to like run in them. The price is the price takes your breath away somewhat, because it's a lot.
I would like to pay for it if you can.
Oh, very good. In which case, yeah, money is transferred. We're not really kind of doing wealth for these, but money is transferred. And you know what? For that act of charity, let's give Cal a hope.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so
Maybe gives him a hug.
So equipped with these boots, are you heading to the sheriff's office?
She puts them on straight away. She's literally she's wearing them.
Walking down the street like.
Yeah.
As we're heading out of Tippy Toes.
Yeah.
Tippy
Taps.
Azakar is gonna pull Cal aside, and say a word to the wise. Control your apprentice.
They're gonna be like, stop spoiling the child.
I thought that was going to be it as well. Noted.
You say this
He's not
as in
my
the
friend.
background. And in the background, you just see Vanya just patting Alfred on the back. And it's like, it is good to have you back in the team. I knew
thought
we
I
could make
did
you an
rather well.
explorer.
As the five of you arrive at the sheriff's office, you see a bit of a commotion out the front, like in front of it. You see a rather like a relatively kind of well-built, well-toned, but harried looking Lorivar, hair kind of combed back under hair kind of combed back, and it spills over like a metal gorget that he wears over a tabard, and it's clear for all to see that this must be Sheriff Perrin. He is currently surrounded by a veritable flock of sprites who are all kind of angrily, grumpily grumbling at him. Like it's not, they're not shouting per se, but they're certainly not letting this poor Lorivar man kind of go anywhere. And like at the center of the gaggle of sprites is a relatively elderly looking ignorant sprite, who's sort of like waggling a walking stick, not in an aggressive way, but in a frustrated old man kind of way at the sheriff. And you can see Sheriff Perrin just sort of like, please, one at a time. I can't hear what you're all saying. Oh my God! By the gods, Jesus! As he's splashing around him.
Yeah, if we're just coming up to this group of people, I think, unless anyone intervenes, Vanya's just be like, move it! Official business with the sheriff.
Vanya, as you shout that, the streets around the sheriff's office go silent. And slowly, a good dozen sprite heads turn to regard you, including that of the elderly Ignan sprite at the centre. And they all in unison kind of squint slightly, as if and they physically size you up, like with their heads just going up and down. And then you hear one of them go, "Huh!" And they all turn around and "Rah!" They begin grumbling and shouting at the sheriff. But the sheriff just, excuse me, and like very indelicately steps over some of the sprites to kind of get out of the ring of angry small people. They're quite fired up, but it's good of you to try.
You should use that language.
They're riled up.
Like a sticky situation. What, can we go somewhere private without all this ruckus?
Well, perhaps not. The firearms here are quite insistent. Is it something quick that I can help you with?
Go on, Alfred, tell him.
It's about the kidnapping.
Goodness sakes.
or possible eloping. I'm hoping it's the second.
And as you say that, Alfred, like the sprites that just kind of like swarmed after the sheriff, they all stop again, and then like the old Ignan sprite in the middle like leans round and kidnapping
or elopement.
The old Ignan sprite looks up to the sheriff, who's just, oh no, like covered his face. What's this about a kidnapping? The old boy says, and the sheriff turns and, Benville, that's just something that the stranger has just said. My daughter's been kidnapped?
No one said anything about your daughter.
The sprites all kind of look towards you as a car. It's like a flock of seagulls, just like looking at things in unison. And this Ignan sprite just sort of like puffs up slightly, and if someone's kidnapped my daughter, then it should be what everyone's talking about. You never said that they've been kidnapped, Sheriff, he says as he snaps. And I told you those Frisbees were up to no good. They're going around kidnapping my child. They just lure her away. No. These lot are saying that they kidnapped them. And he starts, as he like shakes in rage, the colour of his skin, like, which is kind of a dark ruddy red, he almost begins to like light up like a heating coal, as he gets more and more kind of irate, and the sheriff is now just kind of looking at you, Alfric, wide-eyed.
DM, is it possible to do something at this point?
Yes.
I use my primal gauntlets and smash the ground to make a loud noise. Stop all this grumbling.
Okay. That sounds quite...
I'm not a people
Fight
person.
a loader.
It's more of a...
Just an inconvenience to you, aren't we? Oh, just the little people getting mad.
He's just joined all of the Ignan sprites.
That's it. Tell all the little people to shut up.
Thaddeus, make me a strength check.
Cool. So strength. It's just a +3 on this. With the strength, let me just get the roll.
Just to clarify, I do not have the sound of a bowling ball knocking over a load of Skittles as a soundbite preloaded. So,
I mean, I'm not attacking anyone.
No,
but
just in case this
I'm gonna
escalates.
fight a load of sprites.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, no. I mean, I rolled a a 18, but it's with fear.
It's with fear. Okay.
An 18 with fear.
An 18 with fear. You know what?
I'm trying to get people's attention.
You do successfully get everyone's attention. And, like, the firearms stop for a moment. Like, because they've been shouting quite loud. Like, watch out, you've kidnapped my child, my daughter. And then the sound of the thunderous boom as you kind of punch the ground. Like, the streets once again go quiet. Even Rayri, has to pause for a moment. And then, Vanya, as you stand up feeling quite triumphant, you hear from behind you, "What's this about us kidnapping your daughter?" And you turn, and there's another gaggle of sprites equaling the size of the first, but they are led by an old-looking Aquan sprite, who you, in this moment, like, you just get this suspicion that this must be Tiber Fisby. And if I know Benville, he's the one who's kidnapped my daughter. And suddenly these two kind of camps of sprites just start shouting and screaming like, rah, 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 rah. And luckily you're like the sheriff who's just wedged in the middle of them, the two kind of groups with the five of you. Like, they're busy enough that he manages to kind of slide himself out with you, and they will keep going for a good while. I would appreciate if you allow us to keep tabs on public decorum, but my name is Sheriff Parrin. How can I help?
Rari's in the thick of it. She's not in the middle. She's just there.
Oh, yeah. We are trying to help in this situation. We just need to ask some questions to figure out some information or clues as to where these two may have eloped or have gone missing. And we have heard that you, Sheriff, have been having a little problem with some hooligans outside the radius of your town.
Well, yes, he says, and like a sprite has broken away from the crowd and is at the sheriff's leg, just shouting up, and he's just like, yes, and he's almost just sort of like, just trying to push the sprite away slightly. He's like, yes, there were reports of some like traveling bandits nearby, but they've not really interacted with the town. They've kept their distance, so they're not that high a priority. But why do you think they're involved somehow?
Well, when did they appear?
Well, about a week ago or so. I don't know. That's when we got the first reports.
And when did you get the first report of these daughters apparently gone missing?
Well, a few days ago.
Suspicious.
But the town has a lot of eyes, and none of them saw the bandits coming in. The firearms, they've been scrabbling up my legs to try and get me to do something about them, but the bandits aren't really posing any problem. But the firearms would have noticed if they came close to the town. Look, as far as I know, we don't. The bandits are of no concern to the town, but if you want to go and investigate for yourselves, which by the looks of you, you're explorers and you're more than capable of doing, you'll find them in the in the hills to the north.
Right. And is there any other unsavory types of, not talking about typical civilians or these two families, I'm talking about, is there like an underground force at play within this town who might have unsavory motives?
The
Thieves Guild or something, I don't know.
the sheriff kind of looks a bit shocked, and then he gestures in a wide sweeping motion to the 30 to 40 sprites that are like the wall of deathing in front of the sheriff's office, and they're all sort of like they're stood a good like 4 foot apart, but they're all like leaning forward and sort of pointing and shouting at one another. And do you think a thieves guild would survive this? He says with a sweep of his arm. If you want to help, by all means go and interrogate the bandits, but please, I now have a bit of a public crisis to deal with.
Well, have you even talked to these people properly yet?
He, as you say that, like some sprites start climbing up his leg, and sort of like pulling on his trousers to try and get his attention. And the sheriff kind of closes his eyes, puts his hands up and says, "I'm afraid I'm busy. Good day," he says, and he turns to the Firams and the Fizbees, and please, one at a time, he says as he walks away from you, with sprites hanging off him.
Vanya. Can you do that punching thing again? I'm getting Vanya to shut them all up again.
Okay. The 40 heads all stop chattering and then turn to look at you. The sheriff looks very upset.
Azakar is going to point at the head of the... Is the old chap the head of the Firams?
So yeah, it looks like in the center of their respective gangs, at the front of this sort of like opposing wall of death, you assume that must be Benville Firam, and opposite him is Tiber Fizbee, the patriarch and matriarch, respectively, of the Firams and Fizbees.
You. He's going to point at them with his scabbard, and it's going to be glowing slightly with divine. Just basically trying to make sure that he is shutting up, basically, and ready to answer questions.
Okay.
Do you believe that these Fizbees, do you solemnly believe that they have kidnapped your daughter?
There can't be any other reason, says the ignorant sprite.
But why?
He turns and his brow furrows, and like he's got a lot of wrinkles across his forehead, and like his bottom lip kind of smacks against his top lip a little. These lot, they've got schemes on schemes, they have.
I thought you worked together.
Well, I mean, they only because it suits us, he says. And like Tiber, suits you? The only reason we carry on making things is because you're cutting it down or farming it too quickly, she says.
We have in good information that your daughters are together. Friends, lovers. I'm not sure. I'm confused.
You hear one person in the crowd go, "I thought they were roommates!"
Roommates heard that as well. You will find your daughters quicker if you work together, like you have with building this town.
Azakar, I require... This sounds like
probably a presence.
A presence check.
Which I've got a -1 in.
Oh boy.
Can I help in any way? I feel like Cal's very kind of, because Cal hasn't really reacted apart from his initial hand in face at the kidnapping comment.
Mm-hmm.
And just like let this all play out and kind of kept back and out of the way. but I feel like him coming up behind Azakar as a kind of more intimidating presence. Can I use that as a way of supporting Azakar's role to be like, listen to this man, but saying it all with his face?
So yeah, you can spend a hope. If you want to spend a hope, then Azakar will get advantage.
Nice.
Yes.
What does
I will do
advantage mean again in Daggerheart?
So you get
extra
+6.
D6. Yeah.
Nice, D6.
So Cal goes down to 2 hope.
Bloop. D6. Just wondering if this is worth it.
Oh, you haven't rolled your prayer dice as an aside.
No, I haven't.
Please, Aya, make them stop.
Make them shut up, please. I got a 2, and I've got a 2. Make a little mark of those.
So if you're on -1, I believe you're currently on 9 with fear.
9 with fear. I will use one of my prayer dice to bump that up to 11. I'm also going to use Fearless. So when I roll with fear, I can mark 2 stress and turn that into a hope instead.
Okay. So 11 with hope, all in told.
11 with hope, yeah.
In which case, as you and Cal both try to reason with these matriarch and patriarchs, Cal, perhaps it's your time as a soldier, like in a war that was much more horrific than anyone really kind of acknowledged it would be, but there's like this sea of vacant looks staring back at you, and you can hear like murmurs ripple through the gathered crowds of sprites, and the 2 leaders sort of like look to you as a car, and almost simultaneously huff. Until my daughter comes back. Until my daughter comes back, the 2 of them start. We won't be helping them out one scotch. Come on, gang, says Benzel. Come on, folks, says Lady Fisby. We're going home, the 2 groups like declare, and then with the murmurs of consternation, the 2 groups of sprites begin to separate and filter back to their respective parts of the city. So the hope, at least they're not here anymore, but they don't seem to have. It doesn't seem to have got through to them.
Maybe just starting to follow the other ignorance.
Really, come back here.
I fear I might have said something untoward.
You may need to stop calling it a kidnapping.
Right.
Kidnapping?
Stop calling it. Stop calling it that, please.
Right.
So the sheriff is the only one left in the street with you, and yeah, he looks very unimpressed. If you're done, I will bid you good day, he says. And like with a huff, he sort of like turns and begins walking back to his office, pulling his trousers back up that have been pulled down slightly by the sprites. But at the very least, you have the location of the bandit hideout. Is that where you're heading next?
Yeah, why not? Okay. Unless anyone wants to go and talk to someone else first.
Well, I don't think it's anything to do with it. I think it's all to do with the Frisbees. I heard they're up to all sorts. Shady dealings. They get all the hard work done by the fire sprites. All of it. And they just go around doing their little paintings, doing their little art.
Rayleigh,
And
look
they
at
get
your
all the
shoes
fire
again.
sprites.
Look at your little shoes.
Oh,
Look at your
tippy
new little
tappies.
shoes. Yes, they're very nice, aren't they? Come on, let's go.
Have you seen them?
Yes, I have seen them. They're very nice.
In which case, as you diffuse Rayri by getting her to look at her colourful shoes, as the five of you begin like making your way out of town to the north to the hills, where the bandits were last reported having been seen, let's grab a quick break. If you are enjoying this, make sure to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button as well while you're at it. If you're watching this live, you'll be able to chat to us if you are subscribed, but otherwise you can subscribe because we've got loads of other tabletop RPG stuff happening. We don't want you to miss out because we've got Blades in the Dark campaign that is due to conclude very, very soon, so now's a fantastic chance to start watching it if you haven't already. We will be back in about 15 minutes. So 10 to 10. We'll see you then. Bye 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 bye.
Bye.
Welcome back. That I didn't catch that in time. Hello, hi. Welcome. I am DM Dan. This is Explorers of Elsewhere. This is specifically Tales from Elsewhere, our episodic Daggerheart actual play live stream. Hello, welcome. If this is the first time you're joining, hi. I am joined by, in quick succession, Nate, Livy, Georgia, Theo, and Dan. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
And we have just begun a new adventure. Our explorers, our 5 explorers here, have descended upon the town, the town of Islebridge, in search of 2 missing young ladies, who are heirs to their family legacies. They're due to inherit their family legacies, but they've gone missing. And there are some suspicions that there is a kidnapping afoot. But everyone's shouting at each other, everyone's really grumpy. There's lots of sprites which are small, little elemental infused people. Yeah, it's all happening. Our explorers here are just about to have just set off from Islebridge to some hills, some hilly areas to the north, in search of, following up on a set of clues about some roving bandits that have arrived recently-ish, just in case these bandits have had anything to do with the disappearances of these 2 lovely young girls by the names of Capuline Fisby and Montana Fyram. So, as you chase that lead down, who would like to jump back into it? Yeah. Well, let's prep you all with a title screen.
All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo and I'm playing Cal, a Sangavar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Elfric Stormhall, a Dragon Scent Bard.
Hi, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Azakar, a Majani Seraph.
And my name is DM Dan, the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere.
And so, we rejoin the 5 of you. Some hours journey north of Islebridge. Leaving the town centre, you travelled through the quite spacious fields that you saw a number of sprites, presumably of the Fyram clan, tending to. And as you left their sort of like their farmlands behind, the terrain has become surprisingly more sort of like rugged and rocky. There are well-worn paths which seem to start and end with no rhyme nor reason, which you suspect is a direct result of the calamitous events of the Eschaton, where the terrain, the topography of Elsewhere was violently changed by the wild coruscating magics that were tearing her apart. But the further you get away, the more you all collectively begin to appreciate how the town of Islebridge, which is older than the Eschaton for sure, just seems to have been fortunate enough to have been spared any real devastation as a result of the climax of the War of the Dragons. Just to check in with you, Alfred, because you've only, this is probably only like your second official explorer mission. Like you've not really spent a lot of time out in the wilderness as such, right?
No, pretty much nothing at all.
Okay.
I think Alfred spent most his entire life, more or less, kept indoors, not imprisoned, but very much not encouraged to leave his family's estate.
Sure. In which case, how do you feel when the path that you're kind of walking along seeming like suddenly comes to a halt, thanks to what appears to be this large chasm that's splitting the terrain, that was almost impossible to see as you were approaching it. But on the other side of the chasm, which is many, almost 100 feet across, you notice that the terrain doesn't seem to match the same terrain that you're standing on. Like it's almost like it's a different stone, like a different bedrock. You notice there are chunks of floating debris just kind of hovering across the chasm. Some of the rock on your side, some of the rock on the other side of the chasm. And you notice that on the other side of the chasm, the rock is barren, lifeless. How do you feel seeing what is possibly your first, the first result of the eschaton on the landscape of Elysia?
I think his eyes just light up in the way that they do when he sees anything new in this new life of his. He just stops on the edge of this chasm and he's, this is amazing. Is everything like this all over?
You're muted, Dan.
Whoops. Apologies. Vanya was saying, pretty much I've traveled across many a terrain, and it's just a mess out there. It's all hickledy-pickledy, and there is even that one time when I was just walking through this woods. One step, if I took one step less, I would have been just transported elsewhere, because I just remember just stepping and hearing this odd sound, and I looked behind me, and the step back, the whole place had been just disappeared. This was during the war, but it's messed up.
It's quite beautiful, I think.
Alfred.
I mean, that too, yeah.
As
you see some crazy things.
As you marvel at its beauty, Alfred, you see that on one of these kind of floating chunks of rock in the chasm, there appears to be two small, like birds, smallish birds. They're clearly completely different kind of species, like genii of bird. One's this kind of plump, white feathered little thing. The other is quite kind of lanky and scrawny with like dark brown plumage, with sweeping tail feathers. And like they're just kind of sat kind of cooing and warbling in close proximity to one another, almost as if they're kind of sharing this rock between them. But Vanya, with your sort of like wilderness experience, you quickly acknowledge that these are two species that have never, like the brown feathered bird is clearly not native to this area. But yeah, and as you watch these two birds, a a cloud passes overhead, revealing the kind of murkish sky overhead, and like a shadow is cast from a winged beast, like a leathery winged beast that flaps overhead, and the two birds both look up and then fly off in different directions, as this horned swooper just kind of arcs overhead and then disappears back above the clouds. When Vanier, you acknowledge that the horned swooper is also not native to this, clearly not native to this area, this climate, this biome.
Like I said, it's all higgledy-piggledy now. So even the local animals are not your local animals anymore. It's all mixed around. I think what you'll find is everything is just trying to see where it fits in the natural order of the new realm.
I understand that feeling.
Well, you got us watching your back. Pat you on the back.
You carry on your journey for another kind of hour and a half, give or take, when you notice that the terrain is definitely starting to climb, like you're definitely ascending up inclines, and for those of you who are more comfortable with the wilderness, you realize that these kind of more jagged like hills would be a perfect spot for someone who's kind of living, like to hide in a sense, who is living out in the wild. And sure enough, it's probably Azakar. Well, Azakar and Cal, you both notice like figures watching you from like vantage points in the hills. And this would seem to be the areas of the area that was given described to you by the sheriff of Islebridge as where the bandits had taken residence.
How do you want to handle this?
We're definitely not alone now. I say we keep going, be prepared.
As you press on towards the signs of like living, as you glance around, you can see every so often that there are like scorched earth scorched by campfires that's been kind of brushed over. You can see the trails are a lot more kind of used as you pick your way through these hills. And in the hills there are a number of sort of like cave entrances by the looks of it. You pass what appears to be a cairn of some sort, which Rayri, through your travels, you recognise to be inscribed with keeper glyphs of preservation and remembrance. And before long, you hear a voice kind of ring across the hills. Halt! Who goes there? And you turn to look to see a single figure kind of stood at the crest of a hill, like one hand on a raised knee, like 1 foot on a rock, one hand on the knee, and the other hand confidently holding the pommel of a sword that's sheathed at the belt. The figure looks like a Lorivar man from this distance, wearing warm furs to kind of fend off the cold that's been more and more biting the further away you get from Islebridge. What brings you to our lands?
I was like, Alfric is not talking. Alfric is not.
Oh, you're muted, Georgia.
Oh?
If you're... Oh, no, you're not.
He was definitely about to start talking.
Yeah, literally. I think Cal looked right round at Alfric, and like, there's a face of thunder, as if to be like, do not dare open your mouth right now.
The figure shouts, "You! The dragon said you look talkative. Why have you come here?"
Definitely nothing to do with the kidnapping.
We mean not to intrude. We've come here to just ask questions.
You say that, and like there's a pause, there's a silence, and well, I guess that will make this easy then. And there are 5 of you. I will roll a d10. A d10. No, it's a d12. A d10. Roll. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Vanier, you hear like the sound of whistling as you look up to see an arrow arcing down towards you. That is a 14 to hit, Vanya.
Yes, it hits my evasion.
Okay. In which case, as this arrow soars towards you, Vanya, you're not able to kind of duck out the way quick enough, and we're going to immediately begin fight music.
Damage?
There we go. You hear the sounds. You hear a horn blare out as the arrow strikes you. It deals. Where am I looking? I'm looking here. 28 plus 5. So one of them. Oh no. 2d8. Ooh, 2d56. 2d8. 20 damage.
Wait, damage from a blinking...
It's a spicy meatball!
I'm going to I think I'm just gonna use this, why not is probably a good time as any. Do I want to do that? Yeah, no, I do. I'm going to use my ability Scramble, which when in... Oh no, never mind. Ignore me. It's to do with melee range, not ranged attacks. So yeah, that just hits my severe threshold with 20. So I'm going to spend an armor slot to bring it down to a major.
Okay, it's 2 damage. 2 hit points.
Yep.
Big oof. Okay. So, yeah, Vanya, you are rocked as this arrow embeds in you. So we're in initiative. I've attacked from hiding. Who of the 5 of you is going first? To spell it out, the figure on the hill that's been kind of shouting to you is kind of very far away from you, but because of the terrain up, it's going to take like 2 sets of movement to get to him. But yeah, there are clearly others hiding in the area around you.
There's 2 of us in the group, I believe, who have the Ridgeborn community background, which is the feature steady. You have advantage on rolls to traverse dangerous cliffs and ledges, navigate harsh environments, and use your survival knowledge. And then another bit. But so yeah, just want to throw that as a worth noting.
In which case, yeah, because you can push yourselves to go further than normal with agility checks. So, for argument's sake, if you pass an agility check, you would get advantage. Well, if you roll an agility check to try and close the distance quicker, you get advantage on that, for example. As Chris has quite rightly identified, you're mountain goats. So yes, who's going first as Vanier is rocked onto one foot by this arrow slamming into him?
I think Rary, at the sight of an arrow, hops onto the back of Vinny. One fluid motion, gets out a crossbow straight onto the back of Vinny, and we are off. How far is the guy that we've been talking to? Very far, right?
Very far, yeah. But he's also uphill. So yeah, if you want to, you could close the distance in a single turn with like a sprint, if you will, which will require an agility check. Otherwise, you'll get about halfway.
How far is my... Okay, so it's very far, so short bow's far. Yeah, I mean, I would like to do an agility check to see if I can get within far range.
Yeah.
Or at least range that I can shoot him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, so if you... What's the range of your bow, your crossbow?
Far.
Okay, so, I mean, you could move just normally, and then you'd be in range. So yeah, if you...
Let's go to far range then, please. Okay. I will move to far range.
Mm-hmm.
And... Yeah, I'm gonna... Rolly. To hitty.
So shooting at the like the bandit on the hill.
The one I can see.
Yep, no worries. So that is a 13 on dice.
Plus 16.
So 16 with fear. That is a hit.
Now. It's a 15 damage.
15 damage. Okay. In which case, as you like you jump on Vinny, and then with a surprising speed you launch up the hill, and is it a bow or a crossbow? Sorry.
It's more of a crossbow. Like small enough that she can.
Sure. In which case, as you fire this crossbow, like the bandit in front of you, like rocks back as this bolt strikes him in the sort of like the pec, and he he disappears out of sight as he kind of collapses backwards. And like as you peer up to see, like, you know, what's happened to him, you then watch as he resurfaces, and off the back of your fear, I will activate him, and he kind of emerges from behind the shrubs that you kind of knocked him behind, with a horn and with a you spy movement from 3 locations around you, as 3 figures kind of burst from the undergrowth, who are sort of like laid flat with cloaks over them to disguise them, and 2 individuals have emerged pretty much next to you, Rayri, wielding daggers, and then a 3rd appears behind the rest of you, so slightly downhill from you. I will summon those lackeys, and that is that. So yeah, Rayri, you've got 2 combatants close to you, everyone else there far from you, but you've also got someone close to you as you're in that group. Yeah, that's it for me. I might You know what? I'm going to spend a fear. I'm going to spend a fear. Why not? Why the dickens not? So I go down to 4 fear, and another arrow fires out from the undergrowth. This is a 9 to hit versus 1, 2, 3. Alfric. Does a 9 hit your evasion?
It's less than my evasion.
Okay. In which case, an arrow like bounces off the stone in front of your foot, as what appears to be, and this arrow seems to have come from a different direction to the one that struck Vanier. Who's going next?
Do you say there's any? Is there anyone around us in close range? Or is it
So yeah, an individual of ill repute has effectively emerged from the terrain behind you, so is within sort of like 15-ish feet of you, so close range, and then mobbing Rayri a bit up the hill is, and there are another 2.
Can I hit the one in close range?
Yep.
With arcane barrage.
Barrage. Okay. What does that sound like?
Shoot magical projectiles that automatically strike an enemy within close range. Roll an amount of d6 equal to the hope you spend.
Oh. Well. How many d6 are you spending?
I think I've not got many hopes.
You've got 2.
I've got 1 hope. I've got 2 hope.
2 hope.
I will spend a hope to get 1 hope.
Okay. So...
and I will deal a d6.
Okay. How much damage is your d6?
Should I roll?
Roll in Foundry. Yeah.
Foundry.
So if you click on under the chat box in the bottom right,
I see.
yeah, you can click on the square for the d6.
Yeah, there he is.
Ooh, spicy 6. In which case, yeah, you like as you panic as this arrow ricochets off the stone in front, the rock in front of your foot, and then like as you spin round, like as you're kind of moving away from it, you see this like third figure, like jump up from the ground, like jump out from behind the rock and like run at you with waving a dagger, and as you like, what did your arcane barrage look like?
I imagine he's still got his violin strapped to his back, but I imagine he manages to grab his the bow, and just like swipe it at this advancing figure, and it looks like sort of 6 musical notes that like jab.
Okay. In which case, for anyone that's looking, you watch as these 6 musical notes like embed into 6 parts of this like charging Lorivar's torso, and he's flung from his feet and like collapses to his back, and then just like unceremoniously rolls down the hill, just like smacking into every rock and like bush branch on the way down. And when he finally comes to a halt, he's not moving. You've so you've defeated the surprise bandit. You didn't need to roll, so you know what, we'll say another one of you can go again.
I'd like to run at the bandit at the top.
Okay. Yep. So I will require an agility check if you want to get to him in one go. Alternatively, if you don't want to do an agility, you can catch up with Rayri and deal with the 2 bandits that are flanking her.
That's true. Let's do what. Let's deal with what's attacking Rayri, because I think that's very like him anyway.
Okay.
I would like to use my whirlwind ability.
Yes.
So basically, I want to get into very close range with these 2 that are about to attack Rayri, and I can make an attack roll against a target using a weapon with melee very close range. On a success, you may spend a hope to use that roll against every other enemy in that weapon's range.
Okay.
So I want to try and take on both of them.
Yeah. In which case, by the time you get up to them, they've sort of like convened on Ravi's position, so they're pretty much shoulder to shoulder.
Cool. And because I now have, so whilst I was away with Alfric, I got a broadsword to go with my dagger, so I can do a paired attack. So now when I it's a +5 as I use a broadsword and a dagger to hit. So
Okay.
if I roll my usual dice +5. Okay, cool. So that's a 15 with fear.
15 with fear. That
Oh,
is...
sorry, it's more than that. It's it's a 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 with fear.
The +5, I believe, is the damage roll.
Nope, that's
Is it not?
just to. No, because it's my +4 for agility and +2 for finesse. They're part of my sword attack.
Sorry, okay. Well, yes, that is very much a hit.
Fine.
Absolutely.
Cool. So yeah, and I can spend a hope to roll. So when I do the damage now, yes, I can use that damage on the second attacker. So
It'll be half damage to the second attacker.
not
That's
according
correct.
to my whirlwind. Oh,
If
hang
you
on.
read the last sentence, because I got the
round
same
it up.
ability.
Take
Yeah.
half damage rounded up. Okay, cool.
Yep.
That's fine. It's still damage at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So it's 2d6. Oh, sorry. Ignore me. That's not right. It's 2d8. There's 8. So 2d8 plus 3 for the broadsword attack. That's 15, and then the dagger is 2d8 plus 2. So that's 25 damage, and then
no, in terms of when you're using weapons,
Just up
you
your
can only
efficiency.
make with one. You can only damage with one of those weapons.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Sorry, my mistake. So it's the first one then, plus.
And then I think the dagger then gives you... It's then +5.
the extra bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, my
to that.
mistake. I'm so sorry, guys.
That's all right.
Because
No,
I haven't
we're all
used
learning.
So-
weapons before.
Tell you what, let's take
So,
the
yeah.
first... If we take the first roll, which was a 15, and then add another 2 onto it. So 17?
Yeah.
17, okay. Theo, describe to me in vivid detail what you do to these two schmucks.
Oh, I obliterate them. No, I think.
I mean, yes.
if I think like the idea of them attacking Ray Ray would upset me. So I think Cal literally leaps forward, I think he stabs with the second dagger and then swipes with the broadsword. I'm pretty sure the limbs are off. Like I think both heads roll on these two bandits before they even get a chance to be upset about being stabbed.
Yeah.
by the
He's
dagger.
like, not blood on the new boots, not the new boots, cow.
Yeah, you obliterate them so hard we revert to like original Mortal Kombat 3 where like multiple skulls and rib cages come out of them. Okay, very very good. Yes, Ray, in a whirlwind, like you've spent a lot of time seeing Cal running around with a long sword that like he was holding two-handed, but now wielding a broadsword and the dagger that was used as the murder weapon at the mansion. Yeah, he giblets these two bandits. Very good, Theo. Yeah, the two bandits are no more. However, I will step in off the back of your fear, and I will act. Well, I take a thingy. I take a what's it. So I go up to 5 fear, and then I will activate. And I'm going to. So at the sight of this blender of a Ace of Ar that's just torn through some bandits, there is some movement you notice to your collective lefts as a figure kind of emerges out from behind a rock with a bow, who then sort of like takes a few steps and then fires another shot at you directly, Cal. We're going to roll a d20 minus 1. A 15 to hit.
Now 15 hits.
15 hits. In which case, whilst this the shots, you assume that this person with a bow is probably the one that shot Vanier, but whilst they're on the move without the benefit of cover, it's not as devastating a shot. It's 12 damage, Cal.
12 damage. Yep, I'm going to use one of my armor slots. So my armor would then go down, I assume, based on our new rules. But yeah, it only means I take 1 HP.
Cool, perfect. Yeah, the arrow then kind of glances off you as your armor absorbs some of the blow. I pass back to everyone else. Who wants to go next? Vanier or Azakar?
Azakar is... How far did you say the guy at the top is?
Is very far away from you. You can get there in one sprint if you pass an agility check.
Let's do that then. Let's give it a go.
Now that the archer has broken cover, they are also very far, but in a different direction.
Okay. I'm going to make an agility check and go after Loki at the top. That's a 6.
That's a 6 with hope.
Oh, it's a 7. A 7 with
hope. 7 with hope. So, on the plus side, you get hope.
Yeah.
On the downside, you don't, like, the rock, your footing keeps on slipping out from underneath you as you try to scale up the side of this cliff. And, like, arrows are kind of being shot in your direction. You have to kind of duck for cover to avoid them. You manage to catch up with Cal and Rayri. So, both the archer and the figure that Rayri shot are far from you.
Am I still allowed to make an attack?
Yes, although there's... Oh yeah, if you've got... Yeah, they're within 5 if you've got far ranged attacks.
I'll use my bolt beacon then to do a nice little lightning bolt at him.
The one who was shouting at you or the archer?
The guy who was shouting at us.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, come on.
I'm very tired.
I've had enough of this. It's been a long day.
Not good at mountain. I come from desert. You do not have wheels.
To a mountain.
What's the grand total?
That would be a 10.
10. Well, you know what, Nate? It's the thought that counts. You know?
Can I add my prayer dice to that to make it 12?
Do you think it's worth it?
No.
I mean, it could be worth it. You never know.
I'm not going to risk it.
Okay. Very good. So I go up to 6 of 12. Fear. Very, very good. So I will then activate the from somewhere you hear someone grunt as they mark a stress, and an arrow fires out towards you, Nate, maybe to put you out your misery.
We can only hope.
So if you attack from hidden, rolls against you. Oh, it's just disadvantage. Okay, fine. Right, one attack roll. Bam! That's an 8. Okay, so then an arrow like ricochets off.
I was gonna say that meets it, beats it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well then. Well then. In actual fact, then you will take 2d8 plus 5. 2d8 plus 5 damage. You will take 14 damage as this arrow like hits you in the right side. So there seems to be a hidden archer to your right.
I will mark off an armor slot to make that minor damage.
Very good. I will pass back. It's time for some Vanya.
After recoiling from the shot and everyone going in their different directions, I'm gonna go for one of the fire targets. Is the guy who was talking to us, does he look like probably the same capabilities as the other grunts, or does he look a bit more well equipped?
Well, I guess it's a bit difficult to say because currently he's got like a foot of metal sticking out of his chest from Rayri's bolt. I will also remind that where you're currently stood, you assume it to be the leader, and the archer are currently very far from you. But yeah, if you move to catch up, then they'll be far.
I thought they were fire. I was still going to make an agility roll to get there, but
so you can make an agility roll to get there in one go if you so wish, because you can move to far normal.
Yeah, and I've got advantage on the roll because I got the terrain experience.
Yeah, so effectively this will be you can vault up the side of the mountain if you pass the agility.
Yeah, I'll make an agility roll. Have I got anything? Where's my? Just double checking what stuff I've got. I won't spend it on that now. Yeah, so I'm going to make an agility roll +2. I got advantage with the d6. So I'm going to make my roll. Plus a d6. So that's 10, 8, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Okay. In which case you rip up the side of the mountain past Azakar, Rayri and Vinny and Cal, leaving Alfric like in the dust behind you. Alfric, you just watch as Vanya's sort of like bouncing off rocks to. In fact, it looks like a rock climb, but the walls, it's a slope. But yeah, Vanya, you managed to, in a surprising burst of speed, just emerge in front of the bandit that first kind of shouted to you. He looks surprised as he kind of recoils back from you. He's trying to pull this bolt out of his chest. But I will, you're face to face.
Yeah, and I'm gonna sock him.
Okay.
As I go into like a feral punch.
I'm
assuming the other chap is not within very close.
No, so the other archer that is visible is far from you.
Okay. Let me just get my abilities out. Do I want to spend? If this guy looks like a leader of sorts, and I get this ability once per short rest. Once per short rest, you can apply all your focus towards a single target. Choose that target. So this is going to be my target. I get a +1 bonus to my proficiency.
Okay.
I don't know how easy or hard this guy is, but he looks like the leader.
Falcon punch!
So I'm going to make my attack roll. I'm going to spend a hope to use one of my experiences, Thrill of the Hunt, as I get pumped from the excitement of the battle, as I almost like a wolf, just clambering up the hill on all fours up to this guy and leap in the air as I rocket down with a punch. So that's +3, +3. Okay, so I get a plus. So this is going to be made with +6 to hit. Oh, crit!
Okay, so that's max damage, and then you roll again, right?
Yep, because I've also made this. I got that +1 bonus to my proficiency, so that's 30 points of damage plus an extra 3d10 +3.
This guy's going in the sun.
So yeah, Chris in the chat is just, is this guy going to disappear into nothing after this punch? Now he is. That's
and because I gain a hope.
Yeah.
From
so
that,
you're back up to 5. Yeah.
But no, I'm not gonna do that.
You gonna Slayer dice?
I'm gonna put that on my Slayer dice, which I can then spend on this damage.
Kills, yeah.
Which
So,
then gives me.
D6.
But because it's crit, that's technically 36 points plus 3d10 plus d6.
Just
Because
red
of the crit.
mist at this point.
Yeah.
We're actually all dead. It's just a nuclear bomb. It's gone off.
There was Chris in the chat earlier mentioned, oh, does Vanya punch the mountain? Yes. Yes.
Right, so that's 3d10 plus 1d6 plus 3. So that's 36 plus 28. What's
so
that?
56. Wait.
63.
So 36
No, it's
plus
30,
28.
36 plus 28.
64.
So
68.
64,
66 damage.
66 points
So
of magical damage.
No, it is 64. Because if it was
64?
plus if it was 36
Yeah,
plus
so-
30, that'd be 66 minus 2, 64.
Yeah, that's right. So
64.
64 points of magical damage as this as I leap from the sky to knock him with the full force of this like blizzardy wind coming out of my gauntlet as I just tear him asunder.
Daniel. Man's got a severe rating of 14.
Oh, so double that.
Yeah.
64. You are nearly 5 times over.
So
Obliterate this man.
So dead?
So that's 3 damage.
No, it's not 3 damage.
4. Well, no, he's only got 3 hit points left, Dan.
Oh, okay.
In which case, yeah, like the sound of the wind ripping off you as you fly up the side of the mountain almost sounds bestial. And the last thing that this poor schmuck sees is like you, anime pose, like fist up in the air, just perspective warping away from him as your arm gets further and further back, and like just punching the bolt further into his chest probably would have been enough, but in the milliseconds after, like the rib cage just shatters into sand as the blow cracks his rib cage, and he if this was Skyrim, he would have flown backwards, hit the floor, and then boom, gone into orbit. Yeah, he is absolutely pulped. Like his chest looks like a bloody fruit bowl. By the time he stops, like flapping away from the blow. Congratulations.
And I just turn around and look at the next person who's closest, and with that feral look.
Yes.
You might want to drop your weapons.
So, but you did roll like a 20-something with fear, right? When you were climbing up?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
with... No, wait, no. Sorry, it was
Yeah.
with fear climbing up.
Yeah.
But then obviously this...
Crit.
I got the crit from the attack.
In which case, as you sort of like land over the frankly shattered form of this lieutenant, you, like bandit leader, you look up and see that just sort of like over the crest of the hill, like a little bit further down, there's just like a bandit holding a very gruesome and intimidating looking club, and like there's a moment where your eyes meet, and he looks to you. He looks to what the stain that was his boss, and then he looks back to you, and then he just sort of like drops the club on the ground, and then just runs. Yes, I'm out. He just I'll see you later. He makes a break for it. Like you see the archer that's broken cover is just gonna look at where you're going. He shouts as this thug just bolts it as the senses of preservation kick in. Very good. Who wants to go next? There appears to be 2 more combatants. One of them is in the open, the archer. A second archer is kind of hiding.
Where's the archer
That
from
you can
me?
see.
I can see.
So the 2 of them are at far range. Well, the one you can see is far range, up and away from you. So to approach them would kind of take you away from the other one that's been pinging shots, but yeah, it's currently far.
Okay. Rayri, who is in close range of Cal, looks at Cal. She gets up and she stands on the top of Vinny. She says, just try something. And she...
You could have bounced off me.
Yeah, she just like jumps with her 2 feet, with her little tippy tap boots, and just pings off of Cal into the air whilst she's shooting down at this guy with her crossbow, and just does like an aerial like, boom, and just.
Very good, very good.
So I'm going to mark a stress to do a boost shot.
Okay.
Which is just the best new ability that I have. And right, let's make this 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19.
That is a hit towards the archer.
Fabulous.
With fear, so I will take.
I have advantage on the attack, actually. So let me just do that one again. Sorry, didn't realise that also gave me advantage. 12, 13.
Well, advantage is plus d6.
Oh, sorry, plus d6. I forget how it works.
So, yeah, kill that one. Go, 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 go. So, yeah, still very a hit.
Yeah, still very much a hit. Fab. I roll for damage. So it's gonna be 2 d6 and a d10. 3. 17 damage.
Okay. In which case, as you springboard off Cal, much presumably to Cal's disgust, as you kind of soar through the air, I'm imagining motes of Link, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, where you're like go slow-mo when you're aiming in midair. Where do you strike this, fatally strike this archer?
Roped in the eyes.
Okay, so as you fire the crossbow and you kind of watch its trajectory, it strikes this kind of lanky Laravar, but square between the eyes, and he just sort of like flat, like bends backwards unnaturally as the bolt kind of casts him into the rocky terrain. And there's a big plume of dust as he hits the deck.
And I land within close range of where he was standing. So then I land where he was.
Okay.
That's the thing. Like the whole thing is that you do an aerial attack,
Olympic
you go from
landing,
far to close. Yeah, and you just, and then I just do a double thumbs up at Cal.
Okay, very, very good. In which case, as you rolled with fear, I will step in and there's another point of stress is spent, and actually no, there is no stress to be spent. Having seen his accomplice shot down, the second sniper breaks cover and is going to shoot at, we'll roll random, 1, 2, 3. So unfortunately this is also being shot at Alfric again. Clearly you are the brains of this operation. So it's a
Must be taken down.
D20 minus 1. Get the squishy one. 18 to hit.
I'm pretty certain that hits, yes. Yes, that definitely hits.
That definitely hits. Okay, so this sniper is on the move. So it's 9 damage.
So I can spend an armor
Yeah.
to
bring it. Are you within major or minor with that
it's
number?
within major, I think. So there's a 6 and an 18.
Yeah,
I'm
so it's
guessing
within
it's
your
just-
major threshold between those two numbers. And using your armor slot will bring it down to the minor, so you only take 1 hit point of damage.
Yes, I will do that.
Grand. Okay. So yeah, an arrow kind of wings you and kind of your armor absorbs some of the blow, but it still smarts like hell as the shot lands. But yeah, this sniper looks like he's trying to make a break for it, and he's just sort of like shooting and then scampering away. So yeah, who wants to go next?
Whereabouts is this archer?
So in comparison to you lot, he's now at like far range, but in the opposite direction to where Rary's just gone.
Okay. I was wondering if I could sprint to get into close range with him.
Yeah,
but
yeah. If you want to roll an agility to see if you can parkour over the rocks to catch up.
I will do that. I have agility of +3, which is just... That's a pretty good roll. So it's 25 with fear.
Okay. So you do make a scarper, but as you like vault over one of the rocks, worrying, like you have kind of left it behind before it has a chance to happen. But Alfric, well, it'll be Azakar and it'll be Azakar actually. So Azakar, you watch as a rock that Cal's just kind of vaulted over dislodges and begins rolling down the hill towards you. As this boulder loosens and starts rolling down. So we'll introduce that into the fray. But Cal, you have managed to catch up with the archer.
Cool. I'd like to hit him.
Okay.
We have. So I'll try and do this properly this time. Apologies for the last time.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's so basically I'm going to pair the weapons, the broadsword and the small dagger.
Yep.
So I think
just rolling
trying to work it out.
Sharpening them.
So I think I can roll. So my primary weapon is a +4 for agility.
Yeah.
And then my secondary weapon is a +2. But obviously, would I only roll the primary and then add? If it hits, then add.
Yeah. So effectively.
+3. Okay.
Yeah, you make like an attack with your broadsword, and then you do a knee with the dagger as well.
Sure. Just wanted to double check I understood. That's fine. So I'm gonna. Cool. So let's do broadsword attack. That's shit. Okay. Hang on, have I got anything to...
9 plus, so you're up to 13 if you've got a +4.
Yeah, I do have a +4. I just wanted to double check there wasn't anything. Okay, we'll stick with the 13 and see if it hits.
A 13 hits.
Oh, great. That's great, because I also want to use Versatile Fighter.
Okay.
So, which is one of my new abilities, which says when dealing damage, you may mark a stress to take the maximum value of one of your damage die instead of rolling it.
Okay.
So my damage die would be 2d8 plus 5 now because of the weapon.
The dagger, yeah.
So yeah, so that's automatically 16 plus 5.
Yeah.
So 21.
So 16. So 21 damage.
Okay. Describe to me in YouTube appropriate manner what you do to this poor chap.
So this guy is the one who keeps firing arrows at Alfric and everyone else. Okay. I think like there's something about Cal recently, and I think as part of his his vengeance subclass, and I think without his kind of understanding it, the spell render, like finding the spell render and everything to do with it, has kind of fed into. He's just a lot more angry when he's fighting at the moment. He never used to be, and now he's just like he gets very aggressive with it. So I think he literally tears this man in two, like from like he's like between his legs up into his chest, and then runs the dagger through and pushes him back. And then I feel like I think Cal's horrified of himself. And then like the body goes down, and there's like it's I think Cal is not having a great time.
Okay. In which case, for those of you, so some of you might not be able to see what's just happened, but all you hear is the sound of two wet slaps as the bisected bandit hits the side of the mountain. And Cal, you watch as just like with surprising speed off in the distance, this one last bandit that was up near where Vanya was is just like cresting over the hill and is just gone into like flees into obscurity, and the sounds of your beating heartbeats in your ears dies down, leaving only the sounds of your like heavy panting as you catch your breaths from having to like run uphill. But yeah, you seem to have cleared out these bandits.
What about this boulder that I set off, just to double check? Cause...
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Azakar, there's a big boulder rolling towards you. And
what?
And Alfric, you have this horrible realization that if Azakar jumps out the way, you're next in line. So between the two of you, what are you doing?
Can I cast levitate on the boulder?
Yes.
Let me see if it's one of his new spells. Make a spellcast roll to temporarily lift and move a target in the air within close range of where it currently is.
Okay. You'd have to run up towards it. Hang on, I feel like... Wait, this music's far too calm. We need the battle music back. If you want to use it, you can like run up to Azakar and try to cast the spell.
I shall make haste.
Sure. Okay. In which case, yeah, Azakar, like you're kind of rocks. You're a bit unsteady, but you can see this boulder rolling down towards you. But yeah, Alfric just sort of like runs up. And are all your spells cast using like your violin?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. In which case, there's this really frantic from the violin.
Azakar's just got his scimitar like ready, and then he just turns. Just
desperate fiddle.
Alfric, please roll me a spell check, a spellcast check.
So do I roll this on Demo Plane or on
in Foundry?
In Foundry.
And that is just normal.
Normal, yeah, the two little aces.
Yeah.
So 15 from here with fear plus.
Plus 3.
So 18 with fear. Okay. In which case, Azakar, like you glance over your shoulder because you can hear this frantic, slightly disjointed violin music, and the sounds of the rumbling getting louder and louder suddenly disappears, and like this shadow passes overhead as this boulder levitates up like this momentum keeps it rolling towards you, and Asgard, you kind of duck to avoid it clocking you in the forehead as it goes past. But yeah, Alfric, as you levitate this, you then release the boulder, and like it falls. You levitate it up. It falls quite some distance before sort of like crashing into the hillside further below. And I think at this moment I'll just grab an extra fear for your fear roll. But yes, as a car, in the most unlikely way of avoiding a boulder is to make it float over your head. Very, very good. How do you feel, Azakar? Your life has just been saved.
He's still a little bit bewildered about how he's been saved. But he's going to look at you, Alfrec, and just kind of go,
In which case, yeah. Everyone else who's watched this very bizarre turn of events, but Vanier, from where you're stood further up the hillside, you notice that, like, so effectively the rock that the bandit leader was stood on was just kind of like a jutting rock, and then in the face of the hill is what appears to be quite a large kind of, not cave entrance, but it is an opening into the tunnel. It seems to have been kind of hollowed out to form a den of sorts. And as you peer into this den area, you can see that there's a campfire that seems to have been very recently extinguished. You can see the smoke rising off it. Sat on the opposite side of the campfire are goblin babies. No, sat on the opposite side of the campfire is a Aquan sprite woman with long navy hair that kind of cascades over her right eye, and an Oran sprite woman with this kind of scruffy, short grey hair with patches that just seem to, like, you've seen when you've got short hair and sometimes it just refuses to stay down, like patches of that across her head, and the two of them stare at you, like blinking slowly, and then you hear as they try to communicate to you through the cloth gags in their mouths. And as you step into the cave, you suspect that this must be Capuline and Montana.
Well, considering I would have probably got there quite fast because I'm quite used to the terrain and found these two, after just leaving the corpse behind me, I immediately remove both their gags and say, "Don't worry, we've come here to save you."
And as you remove their gags and you say this, the two of them look to you, and like, you've seen the same kind of gooey-eyed expression on Rayri on multiple occasions earlier today, in the presence of purple tippy-tap shoes. But these two young sprite women look at you gooey-eyed, and in unison they say, "That was amazing." And with that, we'll call it there.
Can I finish it with as releasing their bonds as everyone's making their way? Obviously, my only real knife is my cooking knife. Super sharp, but he's internal, begrudgingly using the knife because that's for cooking. But he's as he unleashes all the binds on them.
Sure. Well,
but yeah.
We'll pick up in the next session. Congratulations, everyone on completing the first part of this new tale?
It was a kidnapping.
It was a kidnapping. It would seem. Yes. So, yes, congratulations. You have deleted some bandits in quite impressive manners. And yeah, you found the daughters. Job done. Mission over. What possibly could be happening in the next episode? It's just impossible to tell, right? It's just impossible to tell. So, if you enjoyed this, make sure to hit the like button. Comment down below on what... Comment down... What should our loving audience comment on?
What kind of tippy tap shoes they would buy from?
Yes. What would your favouriteest tippy tap shoes from Tippy Tap Shoes look like? Be as evocative with your descriptions as you possibly can. And to see if Tippy Taps decides to stock these particular shoes, and to see the conclusion to this story, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications when we release new videos. We're releasing stuff, loads and loads of stuff all the time, really often, so we wouldn't want you to miss out. As we roll out, one quick chance for another shout out for a certain podcast that's emerging on the internet. Yeah, if you like your horrifying, and your podcasty, you should listen to the Homer Foundation, which is a fantastic little setup by these two beauties, Georgia and Theo. Congratulations on successfully kickstarting that recently. Yeah, you can pick that up on streams. You can probably find, well, you definitely can find the link in the description and the chat if you scroll up. But yeah, you should give that a listen. It's like a modern day sequel to the Dracula stories, with lots of extra spoop and some amazing voice acting. Horrors. Very, very good. Well, yes, thank you once again for watching. Thank you lot for playing. See you next time. Bye.